The 4-7 Washington football team is roadbound for Week 13, making a trip to Pittsburgh to see if they can hand the Steelers their first loss of the season. But to do so, they'll have to figure out a way to give Alex Smith time in the pocket, and that is not going to be easy against the Pittsburgh pass rush.
And he gets hit and will go down.
It's not just that the Steelers are this year's top sack masters, they're on a record-breaking pace when it comes to QB takedowns.
Look out! What coming? What get him?
They got to RG3 3 times this past week, extending their sack streak to 68.
Didn't like what he saw. He just gets pushed down.
Couple that with Washington's protection, which hasn't been good. Only 2 teams have allowed their QBs to be sacked more, and you can see why Smith may have a really tough time keeping his jersey clean.
Smith gets hit, gets sacked.
The Steelers did get bad news on this front, though. Losing Bud Dupree and his 8 sacks for the year hurt.
And I am told that those tests did confirm a torn ACL, so he is out for the season.
But back to Washington. Their inability to consistently fend off pass rushers is part of why Smith hasn't been able to muster too many flashy stat lines. Just 149 yards, only 5.7 yards per attempt, a TD, and a pick against the Cowboys last week.
Pass is broken up.
And in Smith's 5 games this year, he's never had a rating over 90, he's been sacked at least 2 times in each game, and he has 3 TDs against 5 picks.
And now brought down by McLaurin from behind.
He does have one legit wideout, though, when he does have time to throw. Terry McLaurin going for 7 catches and 92 yards last week.
Throws and delivers a strike.
And games like that have been standard for the second-year wideout. He's only had 1 game all year where he's had less than 60 receiving yards, and he's had 70 or more in 9 of his 11 games.
Terry McLaurin will take it all the way.
He'll have a tough time keeping that up against Pittsburgh, though. It's not just their pass rush that makes their D special. They're at the top of pretty much every key defensive passing category you want to point to.
That was an easy one to take back for the touchdown, Joe Hayden.
And that's why it might be wise for Washington to go back to the Antonio Gibson well.
He is gone.
Gibson ran for 115 yards, 3 TDs, all on the back of a nice 5.8 yard per carry average against Dallas.
To the house is Antonio Gibson.
Gibson has now put up back-to-back games with 90-plus rushing yards, and he's now sitting on some nice season numbers too. 4.6 yards per run, 11 TDs.
He's in for the Washington touchdown.
And this is at least a mild soft spot, if you want to call it that, in Pittsburgh's defense too. They've allowed around 4.5 yards per run this year.
And Hill will get the first down inside the 10. Still going.
The good news for team fans, they too can make it tough on Pittsburgh's offense. They may not have quite as many sacks as the Steelers, but they are no slouches when it comes to sacking the quarterback.
Dalton gets sacked. Chase Young got him.
They took down Andy Dalton 4 times last week, and on the year, only the Steelers have served up more saccaroni and cheese than Washington.
Protection runs out.
But unlike Washington, Pittsburgh has done a good job protecting their signal caller, Ben Roethlisberger rarely finding himself on his back.
He out quick to Ebron.
Part of the reason he's so hard to get to is Pittsburgh has adopted a bit of a Drew Brees-like approach to its passing game, Big Ben getting rid of the ball a lot quicker these days.
Benny Snell picks up the first down and more.
It was on full display last week, too. He threw 51 passes, but only averaged 5.2 yards an attempt.
Ebron will be stopped.
But like Smith, he too may have some trouble finding open receivers to pass to. Washington holding teams under 200 passing yards per game and holding QBs to a sub-90 passer rating.
Pass is incomplete.
So, the ingredients for a good old-fashioned bowl of defensive soup seem to be there. Washington has a division title to chase, and while a wise man once said you shouldn't fear perfection because you'll never reach it, whoever that guy was didn't play in the NFL because the Steelers might. Tell us if you think they get one step closer, or if this is the week someone knocks them off. Your predictions into the comments section, ours onto the screen.
Here is Gibson, right side, wins the race. Touchdown, Washington. First and goal, and they will throw. Roethlisberger to the end zone, touchdown. Juju Smith-Schuster.